I'm here now with Sandrine De Saint Sauveur, APG president. I want to check the pulse of what has been going on during this dramatic and very turbulent 2 years. Just as an insider, what is the major feeling that you had when the pandemic struck? And then in 2020, which was this disastrous year, how it felt from the inside?
Well, first, Alex, thank you again for being with us, because you've been extremely faithful to APG. Really, I appreciate. So, I mean, I think it was, the first feeling was, mais non, it cannot be, mais non. And I remember, you know, where we had to close the office in emergency, and there's a picture of me on the Champs-Élysées where it's, you know, all empty, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be back. And then it was 3 months after I could come back. So it was just, it's just a shock. I remember saying, no, but they will never close Orly, or they will never close Charles de Gaulle, and then it's closed. A shock. So I couldn't meet, a shock is one thing, and then the fact that people would call me, and from inside the company or outside, and say, so Sandrine, what do you think? I said, don't ask me, I don't know. So I kept the first days to keep on answering, I don't know.
Nobody knew what's going on. It was like Judgment Day.
Nobody.
We felt us in a movie in the airline industry. It was like Resident Evil coming in reality.
Oh, totally. And very, you know, I was very close with all the French airline, with the civil aviations, and we were having calls, and everybody was doing a kind of forecast, and then a couple of days after, all the forecast was gone, and then they were doing business plan, and then it was already gone, and everything was wrong. So the problem was that we were all together trying to use the same old recipes to something that we didn't know. And what struck me is that we wanted to be in control of something, but we could not control anything. So for us, it was just like unbelievable.
It was either the end or a new beginning.
Exactly.
But you never knew in the,
exactly.
In the middle of
so
it.
Being totally optimistic, for me it was okay. I mean, okay, it's going to be shaking, it's going to be tough, but we'll survive. From the beginning, I knew we would survive. When it would go back, what would happen, I didn't know at all. Nothing.
I would save that question for last, but now is the time to ask it. Lessons learned, because that's the most important thing when a crisis like this strikes a whole industry, and it was the heaviest struck of all the industries globally. Aviation lost like 1 million jobs in a year, or even more. Thousands of planes were on the ground. Some of them are still on the ground 2 years on. So what is the major lessons learned from that crisis? And do you think that big business will finally learn from a crisis and be much more prepared when next time a crisis like this strikes, because it's inevitable?
It's inevitable, I so agree. This is funny, because this is the question I'm going to ask to my panelists in a couple of minutes. And in fact, for me, the biggest lesson is one, humility. One, I mean, really, we're nothing. Second, if the airline industry has lost in less than a year what it earned during 20 years, something was wrong anyway. And I think what was wrong was that we were not able in this airline industry to show the added value, really the value of flying. People took it for granted. People kept on saying it's a commodity. I hate this word, because it means it's simple, where in fact the technology is incredible. So many efforts has been done by the airline industry in terms of better conceptions, reducing the fuel consumption, so many things, but we were not able to tell this to the client and the passenger. So this is our responsibility. So for me, the lesson is one, to be transparent to the passenger, because he needs to know when he's flying, what is the consumption, what is behind the technology, what is the cost. So transparency and explaining to the passenger that everything has a cost. Again, if we say Paris-New York is 300 euro, this is stupid. It pays the fuel for until Brest, if you know where Brest is. So that's really the lesson. And are we prepared for the next crisis? I think this is really a question to ask to all the chain. For myself, I am.
Do you feel like the industry needs one voice? Because so far it seems like everybody was talking in its own voice and pace, and that is creating this problem that you're explaining.
Totally.
Lack of transparency and everything.
And still, I don't see yet one voice. And I think it's very sad. There is still not
too many stakeholders.
Yes.
You have the manufacturers, the airlines, the airports.
But everybody has to get together. This is a fantastic industry that has to explain what it's doing. This is an industry that is a factor of peace. Again, the day people cannot travel, they start to hate each other. You could see here in this conference, I think this is the first conference of the year, which is totally, fully in presence, no virtual. People are just happy, and because people are happy, they also really do business. So I think it's the lesson is we need to see each other. And going back to your question, business is going to be back, including the business traffic, but not maybe from the very big corporates at the beginning, but small companies. If they want to see the clients or not lose the clients or gain new clients, they need to see them, because
as we heard yesterday, actually now the people. So the traveling public is the one that is taking up first and moving the business ahead. It's not the big business.
Exactly.
Business is still stopped. There is travel freeze in most of the companies.
It will be back. I think it will be back. I have confidence. We could see that Asia was the most hit, and again, I mean, we're lacking of some of our members from Asia because they were not able to attend due to the restrictions. I really, really hope that with the rolling of the vaccinations, countries will reopen, and I'm very optimistic. But again, we should not do business thinking that it's going to be back to normal, because it is to change. We will have to have less frequencies, price will go up, and we have to have a conscience on why we fly and explain to the customer what is the impact.
Do you feel that this transformation has already started?
Yes.
Because business was paying for the flights before. Now it seems like the industry needs to focus also on the regular travelers, because they're the ones when a crisis struck that will be the first to come back on board.
Exactly.
And it seems like ultra low cost, and so on, the new business models have actually disregarded the service instead of trying to lower the fares, but also lowering the quality.
Oh, yeah.
And now we need to find this middle ground. Yeah. Do you think that will be the driver for this coming transformation? Because it's obviously needed.
I think it's very clear. I mean, whatever is short haul, medium haul, the LCC have won. As long as they have a proper business model, it's properly run, it's there. And it's very clear. We were discussing this morning with some of the stakeholders, and this trend is there. It has actually, I think, accelerated. But the same way that during this pandemic you had airlines that died, you had the double that have been created. So in fact, from those new airlines, newcomer, what is the business model? And as long as it's a healthy business model, which is not based on having frequency here and there, like everywhere, I believe in it.
And the stronger actually emerged even stronger from the crisis.
Yes, exactly.
The ones that had a lot of cash.
Cash is king. Cash is king, you know.
Especially in crisis.
Yes, don't tell me.
So about APG, then it's 30 years old now.
Yeah.
What are your feelings for the next 30? Where are you at? Digitalization, innovation, everything is there, but we just need to pick up probably the right stuff from it in order to make it work for us.
Well, the first thing is that we kept the network intact. I'm so proud.
Yeah.
I'm blessed for this, really, and I can't thank everybody in the network. So that's essential, because this is what was constructed over the last 30 years. And then the products are there. And I kept all the investment of all the new products linked to digitalization. So we're really actually accelerating this trend. And on top of that, we got lucky enough to start the cargo 3 years ago. right on time. And
which is now top of mind for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So exactly. So for me, this crisis has accelerated the change. But we keep what is making sense, the fundamental, which is the service, the people, and we focus on the new product. So we've created our own APG platform, which is to connect, doing direct connectivity with airline, to be sold always through travel agencies. So we've accelerated that. It's big investment. We have enlarged our cargo network. We have almost 60 members now on cargo in less than 3 years. So through this crisis, yes, we had to adapt. And actually this is really what we can do. We're small, so we can be extremely flexible and adapt. And I'm glad because everybody, shall it be in Paris, but also all the offices, are all on board to this change.
Yeah, but not so small actually, because now crisis brings opportunities.
Oh yeah.
And the ones that feel smallest actually can pick up those opportunities and quite fast really develop them into their benefit.
Yeah.
Is that what you're doing?
Exactly, exactly. But you know, small is beautiful for me. Small is fantastic.
So cargo is the next big thing,
yeah,
with the e-commerce on the rise and so on. But according to the forecast that we heard yesterday during the sessions, it's gonna turn back to normal, the 2019 levels in just 3 years. What about after that? What is your longer term forecast?
But the longer for
cargo
us,
on one hand and for the passengers?
Yeah, but for me the vision is that I believe that the airlines will concentrate on the operation, and that they will outsource the rest. And when you want to outsource, you want to outsource everything, cargo and passenger. So for me what makes sense is that we'll have more and more airlines that look for one partner able to do both. So this is where I see the growth, the fact that we have those two, and the fact that we are also in digitalization with our platform. So for me, the vision, our network's still the same. We don't have many holes, 1 or 2 countries. Always enhancing the quality and the training of the people. Those products, cargo, passenger, and digitalization. And more or less our potential, we are at 5% of our potential. I made some calculations, like 5%, okay, so there's room. Maybe I'll be dead by then.
Well, but the potential is there, so.
Yes,
yeah,
very much. You know, this industry, you do it because you're passionate, because you love it. And what I missed most along those months is meeting my client, because my clients became also my friends. You know, when I go and visit them, it's a pleasure to see them. And I missed this. I really missed this. And you could see today, a lot of our clients are here, and we're like hugging each other because we're so happy. You cannot do business if you don't like the people. It doesn't work.
It's all about the people. At the same time, it's now all about green, but in different terms. It's the green certificate now. That is.
And there's a lot of bullshit behind. You know, I mean, I believe that there was one panelist yesterday that says it's enough. We really need to act.
Yeah,
and
I'm glad you said it actually.
Yeah. But it's very true. We need to act. We have to stop asking what the other one is doing. It's what we do, you know. And so after that, you know, for our airlines, I felt so guilty after what the guy was saying. So I called my guys at APG Airlines. I said, what are we doing with the fuel? I mean, find me a solution, because it's... And then he says, no, but if we do that, I mean, we multiply by 4 the cost. We can't afford it. I said, and I went back to the guy. I said, Thorsten, I mean, what you're saying. I said, no, Sandrine, you don't understand. Try at least to do 5%. I said, okay, that I can do. So this is what I'm going to do.
Well, that's the medical side of it.
Yes.
Because it's all about now the virus and so on. But the medical crisis is kind of dissipating. It soon will be, I hope, behind us. The next one that we now forgot about, but was top of mind just before that, was the climate one. So, finally, what is your forecast about the climate change and how the airline industry will react? We now talk about sustainable fuels, hydrogen and so on, but it's obviously not sustainable for the moment.
It's what we do now. And there's so many things we can actually do now. Well, a lot of things have been done. And I think people didn't realize what has been done, and we need to communicate to the passenger what we're doing. Now, As an airline, we have ecological tax, for instance. Why in France? In other countries, probably.
Yeah, it's always on the rise.
Yeah. But why not? Again, why not? The real thing is that if we want to have a thorough, holistic approach, we need to explain to the passenger, okay, from a door-to-door perspective, because everything is about door-to-door. It's not about when you fly. It's when you arrive, the airport, blah, 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 the bus you take, everything. What is the conception? And tools exist to do that. So being very transparent, say this is the conception, and then saying to the client, within 3 months, we will show you the effort. It's always starting by something to be able to reduce it. And one thing that is very important, tax. It's fantastic, and I agree, I pay taxes, this is not the problem. But we need to know, as transporters and as client, what is done with it.
Exactly.
And
where does it go?
And today there is no transparency in this. So when, for instance, on the domestic route Toulouse-Lorient, which we operate, there is 1.5 euro per passenger. That is the ecological tax. That goes into the general budget of the civil aviation. I want to know what is done with it. I want the passenger to ask. And so we have been extremely bad at communicating to the client. If you say to the client, okay, you're paying that much, ask what has been done. We need to push the government to be transparent, because being green is all kinds of blah, blah, blah. No, let's go really up to the end. And again, a little something. So for me, I will start by 5% of biofuel in my aircraft as a start. It's a little start, but I will improve.
So next big thing, communication, because if you don't communicate, as we saw, even the governments, not just the airlines, not just the industry, the whole world wasn't prepared. Bad communication always creates monsters. You know, there was a monster in the room. Now we have to get rid of it. And what will be your message for the post-pandemic period for the industry?
Don't be scared. Do something that makes sense, and relax. You know, we became friends over the years. Huh? He's a good guy. Huh? He's the best. Huh?